what I'm going to paint. And what I'm going to paint is that one. So that is a place in Connemara, so west of Ireland, the very west, called Roundstone. It's just a little fishing village. Very beautiful place. You can't see, because the sky was so low that day, that there are actually mountains in the background there, and they're just completely obscured by the cloud. But sort of better for me, isn't it? I don't have to do any further descriptions. But that's what I'm going to paint, and I'm going to paint that with knives. Let me just get rid of... There, okay. So let's have a look at the palette first of all. All right, this is what I'm going to use. Palette knife. Usually I'd kind of be using palette knife that shape, but I've kind of gotten very fond of this one here, because you've got a nice straight part there. You've still got a point and the curve there, and there's plenty of flat space there to work on. And this one was just given to me the other day by one of my students. She said she wasn't using it, and she had plenty of them at home anyway. All right, and then just for some details and the drawing, I'm going to be using this short, round brush. Right, so let's have a look at the paint, titanium white. I'm using a different palette this time, so titanium white, cadmium yellow. Yeah, it's just cadmium yellow. It's not dark. Yellow ochre, cadmium red, dark. Okay, cobalt blue, and burnt sienna. Okay, so, and going back to the canvas, it's another linen canvas. Okay, so I'm going to start painting now. Right, so I'm going to make up a drawing tone first. Okay. Now you can see what I've done. I've got a very long, I've got almost letterbox-shaped photograph there. I did that this week just so that it would sort of throw my students off balance a little bit, because when you're standing at the side of of the ocean there like that, you don't have just that sort of composition to hand. You've got the rest of the world around to the right and to the left and up above, and even more land towards your feet. So you've got to choose the area to paint. So I wanted to just get them to paint to... Ooh, I just knocked the camera. Get them to have to decide what to paint rather than just copy what the photograph is. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to say, I'm going to put a line across there, not because that's a horizon or anything, because I want to just divide that, because the form factor, this is quite a high, it's kind of very, very sort of tall in comparison to its width, and I just want to bring it down a little bit so I can give myself a guide about where to put the horizon. So I want more sky than my photograph has, so I'm going to put that down there like that. Okay, and then that'll be the wall. Vegetation about there, and so you can put the boat anywhere. You put the boat where it will serve the best purpose. Houses. Even if we're not painting with brushes, we can take some of the Scottish colourists and impressionists work to heart, can't we? We can sort of paint a bit like that, not worrying too much about the details. I'm going to put the sea up there a bit there. Okay, and I might move the wall over here a bit to give myself more vegetation. And now I'm going to paint a notan. I'm just going to change a brush to a slightly bigger brush. So I'm going to grab some more burnt sienna. There, that can all come down here like that. And there's no reason why you can't put a bit more vegetation here. For balance. Okay, and that can come that like that, then that'll be the roofs. And those, you can see sort of these things on top of the wall in the lower left-hand corner. In fact, they're slates. They've been sort of, they've been cemented onto the wall for people to put pints on. Of course. Yeah. Because you couldn't go to Roundstone and not have a pint. Maybe that would be there. And then that boat. Yeah, that boat can stay there. That's fine. And all of the rest of that is sky. Okay, so what I'm going to start out with is a few darks, okay? Right, so I'm going to make up some darks. So blue and burnt sienna. And this will sort of give me the bones of the painting, I suppose. That'll do there. And the idea behind this is to stop you getting down into details. So you might get frustrated when you're painting because you can't get into details. But the idea is that you don't. It's counterproductive to get into details. And down here, it's just a description. So that'll do there. And maybe there's a dark there. Give him a rag and clean the knife. And the next thing I'm going to do is the I'm going to make a green from yellow ochre, I should say, and blue. My aim is to make a low chroma painting in this kind. Remember that greyish one that I was showing you? So yellow ochre, instead of using the cadmium yellow, will give me a much duller, more distant vegetation. Okay. And then there are some islands there, I just want, or some land at least coming along there. Next thing, I'm going to do the before the whole palette gets into a mess. I'm going to do those buildings. So white, yellow, cadmium yellow, and also yellow ochre, and a little touch of red, I think. Be nice. So it's not the brightest bright. It's kind of the next bright. The brightest brights are on those boats. So perhaps something like that will do. There, and then down there. Okay, that'll be fine. That's fine. Maybe just bring that down a wee bit. Okay, that'll do. Next thing, I think the sky. Let's move that off to the side. So more white, and blue. Now the sky is a grey, and I'm going to go for a grey, and the way to make a grey is all three colours, or all colours plus plus white. So some yellow, a bit of red, a bit of blue. A nice light grey. I need to make sure I make enough, because I won't over mix it. It's very pleasant to work paint like this with a knife, I think. Let me see, a bit more yellow. Yeah, that's nice for a base colour. All right. I've got these cameras in my way. The usual thing. Be careful I don't whack them, like I just did there. And this is, I don't know whether you've ever tried it, it's a very quick way of painting. You do cover a lot of ground very fast. And I always think, like painting with brushes, let your strokes show. Ridges, rich ridges of colour, of paint. And I'm going to make a mix for the sea, darker, slightly greener. So blue, yellow and white. I can put a bit of the yellow ochre in there. Let's make sure I've got enough. That should be enough there. A little bit more blue, I think. So this is the blocking in stage, just like it is in any other painting. This is when Archestra was talking about the butteriness of paint. And it's in this circumstance that you really sort of do appreciate that. So that can come along there like that. Okay, that's that blocked in. Clean the knife down. Let's make a green. So blue, yellow. So I'm going to make a kind of a very reddish green first of all. Put a bit of red into that green. Okay. So it's quite dark initially. Okay, don't want to get into too much detail just yet. I can go out there like that. Clean the brush down. Now I'm going to make a much redder mix of that green. There's a lot of red in green areas. So if you just make a green out of yellow and blue, it can look quite toxic. Okay, got that. Next thing I'm going to try and do that wall. I need a dark side, which is based around blue. I'll just mix it into that dark that I painted with initially, a bit more blue, so it's bluish. I'm trying to avoid these cameras. That will do there. Okay, and then the top of the wall, I'm going to make warmer to distinguish it from the paint around it. Hi, welcome to my channel and to this YouTube video. I'm so glad that you're taking the time to watch it. I produce these videos every week, or as near to every week as I possibly can, to offer out my views on good ways to paint and to give you demonstrations and everything. So if you are enjoying it, you know, you can always leave a tip. There's a thanks button just below the video, or if you come to the live streams, you can do a live chat and offer a tip there. Or if you look in the description below, you can buy me a coffee, and that would be a great way to support me. If you can't do that, that's perfectly fine. Please do leave a thumbs up, maybe join the channel, and comment. Commenting is good. The YouTube algorithm picks that up, and it works tremendously in you know, to promote this channel. Okay, so getting on with the video now. I hope you get a lot out of it. So red plus yellow ochre. Can you see? I'll bring that over where you can see it. There. Bit of cadmium yellow and a bit of blue, because it is a grey after all. So it does have all the three colours in it, but it's mostly going over towards a kind of an orangey russet colour. Put that in there like that. I'm getting plenty of texture. I'm not worrying about slates being cemented to the wall. It's irrelevant in this case. And the road, likewise, I think a kind of an orangish colour, but lighter than. I'm going to put some white into what I've just made, a bit more yellow. That's blocked in as well. And then just going back to my light colour, I'm going to put in some indication of the houses around there. I think that's the painting blocked in. Oh, maybe I could... that boat, I don't like the fact that it's got a blue hull. I want a red one. So I'm just going to place that boat in. There, that'll do there for the moment, so I remember where it is. Now, lighter tones in that vegetation. Lighter tones, where are we? So I'm going to get some more yellow, mix it into that green that I made before. Okay, and then I can put those in there like that. And then there's variations around there too. I'm just going to sort of do scubble in the paint there. Not worry too much about the accuracy of that, because it's just an abstract really here. There, put some in there as well in my makey-uppy part. Get that paint off the knife again. Do you know what, I might actually just use a bit of paper towel, preserve that rag at least a little bit. There, use a paper towel instead. There. Okay, now I can grab some white. I'm going to put in some variation in that sky now. Maybe a slightly bluish. Oh, I put a bit of red in there as well. I like pinks in skies. Just as long as it's different. And this is going on, it's very thick. And that way I can shape these roofs as well. Down here. Maybe I can fill in those parts up there. I might change my knife to see how the other one sort of fares as well. Let's put that down there like that. And I can sculpt this, push that in there a little bit. Okay, and grab some of that and push that horizon up a little bit. Okay. And the same with the sea. A little bit of a bluish colour wouldn't do any harm. And the green sea, I just mixed it into that green that I made earlier on, that kind of sea green colour. I don't want to go too dark. Put in some variations in there. Bring the sea up to that pier. Sculpting some very inlets where the water's kind of reaching in a little bit, and also here. Okay, got something there. I want to get a bit of blue actually into that road as well, because I don't like just single sort of tones or single hues in areas of paint. I always like to put in some variation in temperature and colour. Push that road up a little bit. Grab that. You can imagine that if you're sort of there, if you were there in Roundstone, the weather was a bit like this, you might be cold, you know, it might be threatening rain, it kind of often is, and you could you'd want to be sort of getting your painting done fairly quickly in order to get down into that cafe, which is off to the left. Right. Now, what am I going to do? Oh yes, I was going to change my brush and see how this one works, this squared off one. So I'm going to put in some colour in that, some nice sort of pink first of all, because there are some pinks there. There's some pink flowers, so white and cadmium red, maybe a touch of yellow into it as well, and just flatten the brush or the palette knife onto the surface, so it pulls the paint off rather than you applying it, if you see what I mean. And some red as well, likewise, because paintings need a bit of red, I think, especially these ones set in quite a low chroma environment. Put something there as well, and who's to know? Who's to know that they weren't actually there? Now I'm going to push up the paint, how would you say, the vegetation a little bit, making the green. I'm making sure I've got plenty of it. And likewise, same with the pinks. I can just put the flat of the knife onto the painting, and the painting kind of basically it by capillary action, I suppose, pulls the paint from the surface of the knife. It's quite satisfying. It's also random, so it's hard to sort of you can't control it like you can with a brush. Okay, some darks around the houses, just to delineate those houses a little bit. It's a dark, it's not black. I'm having to contort my arm into all sorts of ways just to you're just giving an impression that there's windows and doors and gaps between houses and things like that. Let me see, what can I do here? Just want to make a slightly different tone for the road. That didn't come out too different, did it? Hang on, let me put in a bit more red. Oh yeah, that's good. Just for the sake of variation, really. And let's try a kind of a purpley colour, blue and red and white. Kind of a cool purpley, violety colour. Put a bit more red into that. Ah yeah, we can put that into the wall there. And across the wall too. Okay, so that pier, I need a nice sort of a lighter, warmer tone just to go across. This is the walkway on the pier, I suppose. can't do much. Oh, that's better. There, that'll do. Because I can go back in with the dark. Yeah, like that, and across there. And I might put in a bit of some warmer tones up there as well. Slightly orangey. Okay, and then back in with the sea. There. And now that boat. So let's get sort of a nice light warm colour. I'll mix it in with this warm over here that I used for the houses earlier on, the face of the houses. And I'm just going to put in details, or I would say, how would you say it? It'd be the detail giving the illusion of function. So you're supposed to just read the fact that there must be boats there, if there are all these little variations, rather than painting boats. And what about some colours? Maybe a couple of brightish blue hulls. Let's mix that up there. Make sure there's plenty of paint on the knife. And some reds. Sure, there have to be boats, don't they? And just finish off with a couple of lights as well. And now there's a few darks wouldn't go amiss around here. The edge of the village. Put in some greens in that wall. And now, oh yeah, nobody told me that I hadn't done that boat yet. Hang on, that was it was just lying there, sinking. A dark underneath it. Hang on, let me grab that. And then reshape it with the tone on the outside. What was I doing? Oh yes, Okay. Now I'm just going to grab the brush, okay, just to do some finishing strokes. So let's make a darker red. And then a dark. Dark here. I'm just going to put in some sort of strokes there. Get rid of that thing there. A bit of pink. And now I'm going to grab some grey from here to make up a grey. It turned out that one of my students, her uncle lived there. Well, there you go. And I might just put in some strokes there. And what else have I got? Make sure there's some texture, raising little ridges. That milky kind of sky that you often get around these here parts. And I might just lighten some of that road. Making sure it's warm. So that's the painting there. Let's see if you can see the texture. It's going to be a good long while before this is able to be handled properly. Let me know what you think. Would you do it? Would you paint with a palette knife? You could actually do the whole thing with one palette knife. And you don't have to stick to palette knives either. You can sort of do a mixture of brush and palette knife work. There are no rules. There are only sort of suggestions and guidelines.